So I should be getting the notification in a few seconds. And there she goes.
Okay.
So we are indeed live now.
Yeah.
I have the volume off. Do you want it on?
Just,
wait a minute.
Me.
Me.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's almost like that's kind of a hot track.
Yeah.
Me.
Mm-hmm.
Me.
Okay, before we get into this,
got to pour yourself. Ooh, what?
Yeah, we're back. I'm back on the Tomatin trip.
Ooh.
I know. You want a glass?
Oh no, I'm all right. I'm just. I know that's gonna go right through me in a good way, like in the best possible way.
Oh wait, we're not recording on podcast yet. Someone already sent a super chat. I'm sorry, I had to scroll to the top of the screen.
It just says poop. Yeah, which is great. But yeah, I mean,
let me crank the mic.
We are going to be talking about stuff before we get to the super chats, but
yeah,
rest assured, as with every podcast, we will get to every single one.
Yeah.
We don't go off the air until we do,
okay.
Unless there's some technical difficulty, snafu.
You ready for a sound take on this? Oh
Ooh.
yeah. Oh, single malt Scotch. You don't want a little sip, little taste.
Sip. Just as good as I remembered.
Oh.
Like that sweetness to it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because I know like some people prefer their whiskey a bit more leathery, a bit more bitter. But
I'm gonna move your wet shirt.
Oh yeah. Please do.
Ogmanon, thank you for your donation, says hot. We didn't even get to hitting record on our you know what, I gotta turn the volume down on this thing manually, I think, because I need my tablet to be able to keep track of the super chats. Is this thing gonna Oh yeah, it is. Okay, I have to close this. And since I messed this Fire tablet up so many different ways, the volume buttons no longer work. The physical ones. So I have to go into settings, volume, media volume, mute this all the way down. There we go. Because this is all this tablet really does these days is just take care of super chats and look up facts about cars when we're riding at cafes. So for Henry says, ooh, he's drunk. Ooh, he's drunk. Not yet. Gonna be.
Well, it's a reference to the Malibu review, the song at the end, which is one of my favorite reviews. I think that was the same one with the your dad farting up the chair so bad that, like, your mom had to burn
it. Yeah. Workforce 520 says, I just got a new job at a Ford dealership today. Congratulations, Workforce 520. Motoroid 87 doesn't have a question. Just thank you for the $1. Why did you get a Bezos tablet?
Oh, a Bezos, like Jeff Bezos, the guy who runs Amazon.
Because this is the cheapest possible tablet you can possibly get, and I want to see what it does.
Yeah,
it doesn't do much.
I have an Amazon Fire tablet. I literally just use it to read ebooks. I have some nice reading material on there, and it's nice to have when you don't want to like burn through the phone and everything. Right. And
it's pretty useless. It orders stuff on Amazon and Alexa spies on you.
Yes.
And I'm probably going to get a Windows Surface tablet computer, so I can, and that'll be my new travel computer.
Nice.
This Mac is hard to type on, but thank you, Justin Lewis, for giving it to him. It's been good for streaming, and definitely improved the show that way. But as far as it's got some, as AVE says, it's got some gravity in her. So when I'm on the road, I really need something light, but with more functionality than just a pure tablet. So Victor Brum says, "Hey, why don't you guys work as voice actors? How do you get hired as a voice actor?"
I don't know how they'd happen for anybody. And that's Tedman O'Hara. Have a Suzuki 200 to submit. Rock Hall, Maryland. Well, regularcars@gmail.com. Name
your make, model, city, state in the title of the email, and in the body of the email, put a picture and your phone number.
All right.
Henry, hello, Henry, says, "Why didn't you mention the snorkel in the Tacoma review? I thought it was gratuitous. And also, it was very much there."
Also, I noticed it was missing the running count of the amount of TRDs on the bottom, which I didn't really find necessary. It was one of those things that I remembered we did after the fact.
Yeah. And as we were doing it, we were losing track of how many there were.
Yeah.
Because we were trying to count in fours, because sometimes there was TRD logos on every single wheel, that sort of stuff.
Right.
Well, Sean Brewer, you're going to be our mark here and thank you for your donation, where we're going to talk about our own stuff and then get back into the super chats.
Yeah.
So Sean Brewer is the Mason-Dixon line between us talking about our past few days. John Wick 3.
Oh, we got to hold for sound.
Oh, right. We never even press record. Thank you.
There we go.
All right. So we're going to hold for sound for the iTunes podcast. Here we go.
Welcome to RCR podcast number
62.
62. Nice. We're 7 away from nice. I'm Jerome, or Nick.
I'm Brian.
And we are here to talk about a variety of things that have been going on in the past week, not the least of which is these Pennsylvania weather tornado storms and all this stuff.
Light on in here.
Yeah. I mean, I had to change into a new shirt because I got completely soaked on my way here, which it's just part and parcel of all this. But first and foremost, yesterday we went to see the new John Wick movie. Yes. John Wick 3, Parabellum.
Yeah.
And it's, so just saying it up front, we didn't see any of the previous. Well, I haven't seen any of the previous John Wick movies.
Yeah. I saw the first two.
All right, cool. I'm under the presumption that all the movies take place over the course of X number of days.
Yeah.
That this is all continuously happening.
Right. It's a very 24 style of filmmaking.
Yeah, because they mentioned in the film about things that I know happened happening a few days ago. And where I'm thinking that, because they mentioned well, you're the guy who they killed your dog and whatever. And
that's the entire first movie. They killed my dog and stole my car. Now I'm going to kill the entire mob.
Yeah.
That's the movie. John, now that he's back in John Wick 2, they introduced what a marker is, which is a blood oath. You do something for me, or I do something for you, then you have to do something for me. Those little medallion things. So now this one mob guy comes up to John Wick saying, "Hey, I helped you. Now you have to do something for me." "Well, what do you need me to do?" "I need you to kill my sister, because the sister has a seat on the high table and I want it." And first he says, "I'm not going to do it." And then they send a bunch of people to kill John Wick at his house. And of course he John Wicks them.
Yeah.
And then he comes back and then he John Wicks his way through an entire castle, and then kills the sister to complete it. And then the mobster puts out a $7 million bounty on John Wick to
That's
tie
all.
up loose ends.
Yeah, that's all I knew going in, was that there was a bounty on his head.
Yeah.
For some reason, the Penguin from Gotham is here in a very like brief throwaway role. Well, not throwaway, but you know. And it's hilarious in the sense that, okay, within the first like 5 minutes, he's John Wicking the shit out of like the one a team member for the 76ers. Like,
who's 7'2" in real life or something like that.
The dude is enormous, and he's like messing my man's up with a book. It's like they're
spoiler.
Oh well,
sorry.
I mean,
the whole thing.
The whole thing is like
in the first movie, they say John Wick. There's this recurring joke in the first movie that never happens in the movie, but people said, as they're hyping John Wick up, it's like, I once saw John Wick kill 3 people with a pencil. And then at some point, the second movie, he does kill someone with a pencil.
Yeah.
And then in the third movie, apropos of nothing, he kills a guy with a book.
Yeah. And I mean, here's the thing of like,
he stabs a guy with a book.
You can't
I'm not going to tell you how.
Yeah. You can't really spoil plot points in those movies. You can only spoil moments.
Yeah.
Because I think like in terms of story, it's not that they don't have a story or that it's not compelling.
Right.
It's that's not why you're there.
Right.
You're there to see him like do his thing.
Yeah.
Because he is a master of murder craft.
Yeah.
You know, of just some of the crazy ways that he kills people in his movie are just ridiculous and very nonchalant, but like also very innovative in their nonchalance.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking of all the times like they're walking by or having like a big fight, and there's like a building overlooking them, like in one of the last fights of the movie, and you see like all the lights on in this office building. And I'm thinking like, what if someone stayed there or stayed after work and was like, yo, dude, you would not believe what I'm seeing right now.
Right. And that's the one thing that takes me out of John Wick movies, is that there's a lot of public killings and the bystanders just kind of walk away.
Yeah, they just keep walking.
Yeah.
It's weird in that sense. I mean, like there was a high-speed chase, and that was
with katanas, first with a horse, and then with motorcycles. There are no police in this version of this noir New York City.
Yeah, noir York City. Yeah, and they're just sort of pretending that you know, you're just supposed to look past the idea that this is a place with law enforcement in it, because then it opens up this whole world of questions of how this works. The same thing with like, you're supposed to kind of forget how the human body is supposed to work, in the sense that there is no reason that A, he should be alive for any of this, and B, that he should be as effective as he is against fresh men. It's not even like these are just dudes who've been through the ringer themselves. These are fresh dudes who were like
who have their tanks are full.
And John Wick
bar is full, and John Wick is always in like single digits. He's like, oh man, his HP is at like 7. And if this was Zelda, the beep 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 would be constantly going. Every now and again he gets one heart.
And then they're always doing, or he's always doing like completely superficial like repairs to his own body that are in no way like, they're just load-bearing repairs, but yet somehow he doesn't end up getting the shit killed out of him.
They explain it in the first movie where this one guy, well, the exposition, there's a lot of exposition in the first John Wick. And he says John Wick is pure will. And then they say a few other things. I think they repeat it twice. He is pure fucking will. He will not stop.
And that's kind of what makes the character interesting to me, in that, because he doesn't really talk.
No.
Like John Wick is a very stoic man. Except and so that it makes the things he says more more meaningful, more weighted with significance. And it's just interesting to me because you go in sort of expecting this I don't know, I was kind of expecting there to be some sort of like point at which it slows down, and it really doesn't let up.
the one with difference between John Wick 3 and 1 and 2 is that there's no clear bad guy in John Wick 3. In the first one, there is the mobster he's going to kill. In the second one, it's first sister and then the mobster who double crossed him. Okay, there's a definite end boss.
Yeah.
Third one, there isn't. There's kind of that one ninja guy, but he's super friendly and I'm so awesome to meet you, John Wick. I'm sorry I have to do no, he's like, he doesn't even say I'm sorry. I'm like, this is such an honor.
Yeah, because in the sense that it's only been a few days, but he's created this almost like folk hero mythos around himself to where people are sort of viewing it as a privilege to get to not just kill this man, but to fight this man at all.
Yeah.
Or to be killed by this man. Like there are also sort of scenes where he has to sort of use his wits to get ahead of, just little things, whether it's gun assembly or
that
on
was
the
an
fly.
Interesting thing right in the beginning.
And there's also, I've never been a gun guy, but I think there is a scene where he's kind of like armoring up where I kind of get it, where they're explaining like how armor peel I think he's like 12 gauge steel armor piercing rounds, and they're going through like all this stuff and they're just grabbing all of this stuff. And
that was the gun porn moment. It happens in the second movie as well.
It's complete like pornography in the Second Amendment
armor
sense.
Piercing shotgun shells. Of course, I'm complaining about ballistics accuracy in a movie where almost spoiled the ending. Where in a movie where where the protagonist has a bulletproof dinner jacket.
Yeah. And the idea being that everything is run by this shadowy table, or the high table, and they don't really do they go into like what the high table is in any of the other ones?
No, this is the first. They did explain a little bit more about the high table. It's not even really mentioned in the first one. In the second, you learn, but you never see it. You never see a meeting. You don't know who's on it.
Yeah.
And in the third, now you learn that there's the adjudicator or like this police or judgment person showing up. Yeah. That's the only person who has anything to do with the high table showing up in any of these movies. Sans the sister in the second movie.
What I absolutely loved from a visual standpoint was, and this is like very beginning of the movie stuff, of when they're keeping tabs on the board of what the bounty on John Wick is up to now, is that it's very low tech.
Yeah.
You've got these very old, like early, like Apple computer, just they look
Apple
like word
too.
processors.
There's like Commodore computers.
You get like adding machines and just
that shows up in the second movie as well. Actually, there's that. And it's weird. Like no one in this movie, I think, has smartphones.
No, not that I could recall. No. Because I was trying to think like if the one King of the Bowery has one, but I don't think he does.
In the second movie, with him and his pigeons, there was more like visual explanation with that. The pigeons have like these tiny little satchels on them, like tiny little backpacks, and he's putting like SIM cards in them. Or like mini SD cards.
Because that's what I remember. Because he specifically says he doesn't have a cell phone and he has pigeons because pigeons can't be traced. And I'm thinking I could have sworn he had like something that he had, but now I'm like losing the plot a bit. It's weird in that you get this movie where you have to abide by the rules of the movie's logic, but it's also internally consistent that I didn't really question anything. Like until you mentioned that there's no law enforcement, I didn't really think about it. I'm like, where were the cops during all of this?
Did you see any of the scenes from the second movie?
No, I'm
really?
completely like John Wick nude, or I don't even know if that's the right terminology, but
you have to watch the ones with Lawrence Fishburne in the second movie because like he steals the scene.
I can believe it
in that, and I was really sad that
almost
he doesn't die.
He doesn't die. We're trying to be as respectful to people as possible about spoilers, even acknowledging that this is not a very story or even necessarily character driven movie. It's spectacle driven, which is great, and it excels in a way that
that
few
MCU
movies
cannot.
Yeah, exactly. It's giving you the like by the end of it, you're kind of exhausted.
Yeah, end game is like 3 hours.
Yeah, and it's wall to wall, but it's emotionally exhausting. Like me and my nephew were completely depleted when we left that movie, emotionally. But John Wick, it's like you're physically depleted because like it's almost like how you know, like a Facebook mom will get while watching World of Dance, where you're just like they're sitting in there, and I'm saying this because it's my mom, where the legs are kind of moving because you kind of are syncing up with whatever's happening on the screen. You want to tap your toes. And John Wick has that kind of thing of like where you're moving with the action almost. Cause like in my seat, I'm just kind of like, you know, that type of squirmy response, which is exactly kind of how it goes. But I had a real blast watching that movie. And I imagine now I'm going to go back and watch the other ones because they sound like, again, I don't mind getting them spoiled. It's a spectacle thing.
Yeah.
But with respect to people who, because it's only been out a week and a half, you know, maybe you don't, maybe you like actually.
The third did have the most action.
Yeah. It was very much, I did not think they were going to let up for a while there, because the minute one action set piece ends, it's like you get a 2-minute breather and then like another one starts. And then there's like the extended one where he's like traveling and everything. But for the most part, it's wall-to-wall action. It's like the perfect movie for an action junkie. Like if you like the Raid movies, or if you like
Commando.
Like Jean-Claude Van Damme movies have more plot than this. Like they legitimately do. There is legitimately more of a story in like Lionheart, Kickboxer, like any of those movies than there is in John Wick. But I don't know that you're going to see some of the things. Also, like the tremendous amount of violence performed upon the human dick throughout that movie. Like, it's just
way more than the second or first.
Yeah, it's just dudes getting like their actual like dicks ruined throughout this movie.
More crotch shots than a Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
That's a great line. But yeah, all in all, like big thumbs up for me. It was a good time. And I'm very much invested in them doing another one now. I mean, I don't see how they
Reeves
don't.
Wants to work.
Yeah, that, and in a very Tom Cruise kind of way. Well, actually, I don't know how many of his own stunts he did. But so I don't think he's out here trying to kill himself like Tom is.
Right.
But
I don't think Keanu is doing anything other than has done anything other than John Wick for the past like 8 years.
Yeah,
I don't recall him doing anything else.
Yeah, I'm trying hard to think.
He's got the Matrix money. He doesn't have to do
anything. And apparently, like everyone who meets him, he's like the coolest guy.
He's in the motorcycles. We get along.
Yeah, no, I would love to, you know, he's like that perfect guy you would love to sort of just hang out with and just talk to and have a beer with, or just talk motorcycles, talk like things that don't even have to do with his movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I don't want to, like, he films action movies. Like his most dramatic role was the devil, the Lord.
Dracula?
No.
The devil's advocate.
Yeah.
With Al Pacino.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in other news, I got my STD results, but no, I'm kidding. It's but one of those things that, okay, every year I go and it's the same time virtually every year where I go and get my, did it hit good right there?
Just smelling.
It's just great sense.
Smelling.
Yeah. Oh, it's delightful.
Smelling and drinking at the same time.
But it's also that thing of trying to realize that, what am I getting worried about? Like, this is a routine part of being alive and being an adult. And so I'm sitting there in the office. This was 2 weeks ago. But I mean, I got the results today. It's all clear. So we're good. But in the office, and I completely forgot to mention this until I went back or until I got the results. And I realized there was a guy there with this tattoo who,
playing the entertainer. First of all, we just had like 3 thunderstorms in a row and the ice cream guy is out.
Ice cream, fresh out of ice cream. Hot chili and ginger ale. Of course that would happen. But no, there was a guy there in a sort of plain white wife beater, right? And these jeans that were completely beaten to hell, like tears all over him, right? Ooh. But then he had this tattoo, and okay, it's it wasn't necessarily on the arm, I'm just using that as shorthand, but it's a horse that kind of looked like a Mustang, but it said, "Live like you left the gate open." Like, that sounds like one of those like empty motivational phrases.
Right.
Like live like the car door is unlocked.
Live like the owner left the gate open?
Well, no, like you're a horse and you're living like the owner left the gate open, which implies like
that you have no wilderness skills. You are a domesticated animal and now you're set free without a plan.
Yeah. It's like, what are you supposed to do with something? It sounds nice when you immediately sort of read it to yourself in your head. You're like, oh, okay, that's probably oh wait, what? And then it sort of filters in through the other side of your brain of just, no, that's not that's one of those, like, if you can't take me at my worst,
don't take me at my blast.
Yeah, it's just, that is it's a very boomer-esque feel good about the universe thing. Yeah. With that said, I peaked like crazy there. With that said, I hope the guy is completely physically well. I just found it kind of all the tattoos to get.
Yeah.
Of course, I say this and I have like Orabesh on my arm, so It is what it is. Like, I have no room to really cast stones in my kingdom of glass.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, as far as outdoorsy skills go, I did oh wait, no, I talked to you about this the other day about going hiking this summer, because possibly in July, because I've literally never been hiking before. And there was a hiker in our area who made the news because they disappeared, and they were missing for maybe 36 hours before they were found alive, like perfectly fine. Well, not perfectly fine, other than like the experience of realizing you've been lost in the wilderness and you have no idea where you are.
Right. Okay. They were lost in Auburn, and Auburn, there's like a community hiking path. I mean, it's gravel.
Yeah.
You can ride a bicycle on it. You can ride a 10-speed racing bicycle on it. It's very smooth, and people do. But they thought that somewhere they might have gotten onto the Appalachian Trail. I was just at the Port Clinton Pavilion 2 hours ago and was talking to some hikers there, and they said that rangers and police officers woke them up at 3 a.m. at the Eagle's Nest shelter, which is on the AT, and it's the nearest shelter to Auburn, thinking that maybe the hiker had gone up there, like woke them up. Have you seen this person, with photos? So I don't know where did they find the hiker, the missing hiker? I forget.
I only found out that they found her from overhearing a police officer talking to another person at Wawa.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of a strange thing of like, I'm filling up my coffee and they're talking about all this, and it was kind of like a low key, like they're shading this person of like, who gets lost on what when you have your phone and a hiking trail, like that type of thing.
That is a serious question, because there are multiple hiking apps plus Google Maps.
Yeah.
See, the hiking apps don't even need a cell signal to work. They just go off a GPS.
Yeah. But like my understanding is that, well, from my understanding of the area, is that civilization is audible.
Yes.
Like, so that if you have some semblance of where the sound is coming from, just like follow the sound of cars and
people.
Will
get to either 895 or 61, because all of the mountains in this region the highways follow the mountains because they go in the valleys in between the mountains.
Yeah.
So just hike downhill. You'll end up at a highway or a road.
And yet, as someone completely inexperienced, I 100% empathize with their situation, because I know for a fact that, like, if say I suddenly had the urge to go on a very long walk and I decided I was going to like try hiking, you know, I I'm really prepared. I've got all my stuff together and I'm going to go, but I don't have like just knowing me, like I know I would get lost. Like I just know that would happen. Like I cannot judge this woman for getting lost, and I'm incredibly thankful that she was found safe and well with her dog. It's just one of those things where I guess kind of hearing about this story made me want to sort of learn more about the outdoors than I do, which is functionally nothing. Because I mean, I've never been an outdoorsy kind of guy. And it's just something that I kind of wish, well, outside of going maybe fishing like a couple times with my uncle.
Okay.
Like as a preteen, around there. And that was fun. But it's also that type of thing where you're not really getting the same experience necessarily. You're not necessarily putting yourself in the wilds.
I guess for someone who's never really gone out in the woods like this person may have been, it's easy to get turned around because everything looks the same.
Yeah.
To a new eye versus someone, I guess, who's been hiking for a while can understand the difference between a fake trail and the real one, especially in Pennsylvania, where a lot of it's rocky and the trail necessarily is not beaten. It's not a clear path. It's just you follow the white blazes on the trees. Well, she found a way to get lost, and that's that.
Yeah, but thankfully she found a way to get found. Or mostly, I think was it mostly that she just kind of stayed put for the most part.
I don't know.
Which I think that is what you're supposed to do, isn't it? Like if you're lost, that it makes you easier to find if you kind of stay in one spot rather than trying to.
I suppose.
I don't know. I'm just spitballing here from my complete lack of any sort of fundamental knowledge about outdoorsiness. So
I guess if you had absolutely nothing on you,
yeah,
like if I was in the woods right now with shoes on, like right now I have nothing in my pockets, what would I do? I guess I would stay put. I would conserve what energy I had, kept my heart rate low so I wouldn't sweat out too much water. Because I don't know how many days you can go without water. Is it like 3? Something like that?
Oh, I love that comment. Jace Broussard says, always bring a fishing pole while hiking down here in Louisiana. If you get lost, start casting. Someone will always walk up to you and ask what bait you're using. I don't know. That's just anything else going on?
I need to be social more. That's a subject change. Justin Lowe said, come out to Pittsburgh again.
Yeah.
I'm already done with Monday's video.
Nice.
And that's because I got to take my dad to the airport on Saturday, and then Ford Nationals is on Sunday. If you got stuff to do, no problem. I'm probably just going to hang out with David Coletti. I will be at Ford Nationals on Sunday instead of normally Friday when I'm normally there.
Yeah.
We are riding Friday?
Yes,
okay, we're riding Friday. I got nothing going on tomorrow. I'm going to have to fill the day. You're going to the
passport. I have to get my passport renewed because it's lost it in the move. And it's one of those things where I've looked high and low, and I know it's somewhere in amongst like my old things. I just can't find it. Sometimes I give documents and have my mom just store them in her like cabinet, just so that they're not on it. Cause I know me, like it's just, I haven't found it at her house either. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to report it lost. It's gone, blah, blah, blah. I know for a fact I had it when we came back from New Zealand. Like for a fact, I put it away. For some reason, it's not where I put it away anymore. And so anyway, I'm going to the post office, get the passport, apply, hopefully expedite the process so that it's here in time for RCR Toronto. And then I'm actually playing tomorrow night an actual paid gig at, paid is kind of the details don't really matter, but I am playing a gig at the Apple Dumpling Festival in Reading from like 6:30 to 7:30. Now it's kind of a short notice gig, and so if people are local, come on out. It's whatever. It's a great place. They have the type of food that you go the rest of the year trying to avoid eating. And it's very nice. Yeah, it's a nice place to be. And I'll be on like the West End stage in between like phases of the Miss Apple Dumpling pageant of like stages. Now, I'm not necessarily like the here she is. Look at her face.
Misogyny.
Yeah. But it's still a nice little local thing. So, there's rides and games.
The Miss Dumpling comes out and loud whistle guy starts whistling loudly.
Yeah. Eesh. This thing has been going on for a lot of years. Because I remember going to this thing when I was barely, walking.
Oh, I watched somebody park and hit a car. That was something that happened at Heisler's Dairy Bar.
Have I been to this place?
What?
Have I been to this place?
Not with me, you haven't.
All right, I'm sure I've been before.
I'm sure you've been. Heisler's is a place you take to entertain a child for $6. Because how much is a hamburger at Heisler's Dairy Bar? Well, that's $2. No, I'm sorry. What am I sitting on? Sitting on something weird. Oh, it's just the weirdness of this futon. Heisler's Dairy Bar is ice cream, and it's very good ice cream. And it is high school football game concession stand food.
Here, can you hit me in the coffee with this a little?
Tell me when.
Right. And that's good. Thank you. Just Irish up this coffee.
You get a hamburger, and it's the hamburger that Ron Swanson feeds everybody. It's a hamburger made with meat with nothing. Put ketchup on it if you want. I don't care. And you can get pierogies and very limited menu. It's exactly it's more like Ron Swanson stuff. It's like hamburger, hot dog, pierogies, French fries. Yeah. That is it. But they have all kinds of different ice cream. And they have a miniature golf course, and they have a driving range, and it's out in farm fields and moo cow country. Yeah. And you fill your kid with, you give a kid a hamburger or hot dog, and they get energy, and then they play mini golf, and then you crank them up with sugar. Either one of the two things. I mean, I'm sitting there, and I'm with my friend Jess, and I'll get to the car accident thing in a minute, but you can tell which kids have had the ice cream before mini golf and which ones haven't. The ones who didn't, the ones who did have the ice cream are now lightsabering fighting with the putters.
Yeah.
And, trying to bounce the balls like basketballs. So I'm a connoisseur of mini golf, and Heisler's mini golf is okay. But then again, I've learned this as we traveled to other states. Pennsylvania has a high standard for miniature golf. You go to Jersey, you go to other places, it's this putt-putt bullshit where they just get some AstroTurf and wooden boards, like 2x2s, and just make like a zigzag pattern, and they're like no elevation changes. No hidden tunnels.
Yeah.
No landscaping around the entire place. No flowing river.
You can't have that with that mini golf without that stuff. Like our Rinky Dink Shell's ice cream place with the mini golf has that.
Yeah.
And that's like a backwater. Well, not backwater, but it's like not a big place.
Right. And the thing about PA is like everybody plays mini golf. You are never too old for it, and everybody's just kind of into it.
And it's an easy date idea.
It is an easy date idea.
Just go to Genetti's on the way to Kutztown. It's right there.
Oh, that place. Wait, the Allentown side? Because there's more than one mini golf on either side of Kutztown.
Yeah, take your pick. Yeah. Seriously.
So it's neat that we have a mini golf industry. Anyway, so we're waiting in line for ice cream. And it's good ice cream because it's a long line. So I'm watching the Chevy Colorado trying to nose its way into a parking space, and it's going way too shallow. Like it's not swinging wide and going in. It's kind of like nosing in. And it's one of those parking spaces where all the good ones directly in front of the ice cream, like order station, are all taken.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, he had to park there instead of like, there's plenty of parking spaces over by the mini golf course. He can just walk over here. So he's going in way shallow. And we're looking at the bed of the pickup truck, and it's a foot away from the car on one side. Now he starts turning in. Now we're down to inches. We're like 10 inches, 8, 6, 2. And then we hear this sound. He doesn't make contact with the car. It isn't metal to metal. But since his rear tires on his Colorado, I mean, it's a stock Colorado, but they're still outset a little bit. And the wheel arch of a bed of a Colorado, there's plenty of room, is the tire rubs down the side of this, kind of like base model Impala rental car style thing. It just goes, and it's like, imagine somebody in their underwear trying to slide down a dry water slide. Oh, that. We all, everybody in line is looking at him. No one's really saying anything. And then the guy's in his car and he's looking around. And he realizes that since he rubber scraped his way alongside this car, he can't get out. And he is an older guy. He's got the old man hat. And he's either going to climb over the center console and get out the passenger side. He doesn't do anything. He stays there in his truck until the owner of the car next to him walks up, gets in the car, and leaves. Now, the guy didn't notice that there's now like 4 inches of space in between the Impala and the Colorado. But at a glance, I suppose I didn't see the owner of the Impala come up. They must have come up on the driver's side, saw that a car was parked next to him. That guy's kind of close. Whatever. I'm leaving. Pulls straight back, leaves. When that happens, guy in the Colorado gets out. So, and the line was moving really slow for the ice cream. So we watched this whole thing. So the guy sits in his truck for like 15 minutes.
It's like dinner theater. It's weird.
Now, I should have freaking filmed it. That would make a hell of an Instagram thing. Just the sound of a tire, the sidewall screeching against clear coat.
Yeah. It's that old man, I can do what I want, retired attitude.
Yeah.
They say.
Like when I saw the hat was
it like in the front, and then you have the mesh in the back type trucker cap, or
it was either that or like a commemorative. It looked like a commemorative NASCAR hat or something like that. So I'm like, I'll bet this is a guy the type of guy who is now operating entirely on muscle memory. You could explain. There's no new concepts is making way into this guy's brain. He's he's watching the wheel. He's going to Heisler's. He's going to church. He's in a very Hannibal Buress way. He's the Hormel chili motherfucker. And he's going up to his grandkids, holding his fingers 3 inches apart and saying, "I remember you when you were this big."
The type of grandpa, like, he never goes to the kids. The kids have to come to him. Like, he's never visits. They have to visit him, or he would never see the grandkids. That type of thing. Although I suppose that's a lot of, my mom visits her grandkids a lot. But that's more of a, she's retired now. Like, what else are you going to do?
Right.
Hang out with the grandkids.
What earth am I going to do tomorrow?
I mean, hey, you can come to the apple dumpling. Well, I mean, that's if it doesn't get like rained out by some crazy storm.
Yeah. I left my phone over there by the computer. Yeah. It's going to be thunderstorms on and off. I guess I could hike again tomorrow. Yeah. I could go to Palmerton and I could get up tomorrow. I could drive to Palmerton. I could hike and do the section from Palmerton to Bake Oven and back. Is that like 14 miles or something like that? I could do that. And then when I get back, say, hey, to any hikers, I'm going to Palmerton. I have a car there if you need a ride to something. Because that's what I live for now, is to give rides to hikers, because I want a temporary friendship that lasts for a little bit in a very Fight Club way.
I'm trying to think, like, is there like an OkCupid for like friends? Because I realize now that I forget how to make them.
Yeah.
Because it used to be, that's the one thing, all of you in school right now, do not take the forced proximity for granted.
No.
Of like, okay, we're together. This is going to be the easiest opportunity to make friends ever, outside of like if you become someone who goes to like open mics at a bar and just start randomly talking to people.
Right. For the socially awkward among you in high school, take the invite to the party, you dick. Like, go to the party even if you don't know anybody. Friendships in high school grow like mold in a cheap apartment.
Ooh, that lingers because as someone who lives in one. But no. But
I go through about a bottle of bleach every 6 months in this apartment.
Well, hey, that's what you got to do. Like,
you got to bleach the tub. You have to wipe down surfaces, because I mean, this house was built in like 1890 or something like that. There's mold in this apartment. No two ways about it. I have a dehumidifier in there. I run it every day in that bathroom because it doesn't vent properly. Because for people watching on YouTube, this was once an attic.
Yeah.
Anyway,
man, this is really nice for just an attic, though. Like, I can imagine, you know, just the idea that the only thing that used to be up here was stuff.
Yeah.
And it had this much space.
Yeah.
Relatively
like the
speaking.
archway that goes into my kitchen.
Real quick, there's someone in the regular chat who wanted to know if you're going to Chevy Nationals.
No, I'm not going to Chevy Nationals.
I don't. Is it the same month as Ford Nationals?
Yeah, I mean, they just roll car shows in Carlisle all summer.
Yeah, makes sense.
They have Ford Nationals. They have Ford Nationals, Chrysler Nationals, GM Nationals, and then Corvettes at Carlisle, and they have Import Nationals, which happened earlier, and then there's Spring Carlisle, which is just sell shit. Which that was the only one I haven't been to yet. Well, I haven't been to GM Nationals, but I mean, I suppose GM Nationals would be half Corvettes anyway.
Yeah. When is Yugo Nationals? So, no, it's nice to sort of, but I mean, that thing about making friends, I suppose like a lot of people with regular 9-to-5s will form friendships with coworkers, but like from a lot of people on my Facebook and like social media timelines, I don't know how many people actually like any of their coworkers.
Right.
Like, it's weird. I mean, maybe it's that the forced proximity of a job is more of a burden than the forced proximity of being in school, because you're still afforded a certain, like, there's this sense that like, I don't have to be here.
Yeah.
Whereas with the job, it's like, I have to be here or I don't eat, or I don't make rent, or that type of thing. And then you realize that seeing these people are just a reminder of maybe that job you don't like.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to see them outside of it.
I'll take people who suck in a job more than people who suck in school, because people who suck in school can punch you when the teacher isn't looking.
Yeah. And there's that sense that like, if you go
every day, you have to be back. There is no escaping this person.
Well, I was thinking more college, like
college. Well, but I don't even remember any mean people in college at all.
No, everyone was super chill. It was, and that's because I think a lot of the people.
I was the dick in college for sure.
I think, like, from at least in my experience in Penn State, like, college was too big for cliques to form. Like, there are too many people there for, like, nobody knew who anybody else's name was. Like, if there was a popular kid in college, like, I didn't know their name, because you get like 42,000 new people like every year, or some stupid number like that. Maybe it's like 4,200. I don't know how many there are, but it's this big college drinking town.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to the Gingerbread Man to knock them back every like Tuesday.
What's the Gingerbread Man?
It's a bar. Okay. And they just stopped calling it Gingerbread Man and just started calling it G-Man. And then that just got shortened to G. And because I don't know, I guess we're in such a rush to go drinking, we just can't really say where we're going.
I can't put syllables in between my mouth and natty eye. Oh, what do they pour? What's like the you were drinking woodchuck cider when we were up there.
Yeah,
Something else.
Yeah, that was the thing that I always got up there because I was not a beer connoisseur. Well, woodchuck cider and Lion's Heads.
Oh, okay.
Lion's Heads. That's because at Sharky's they were only like $1.
Damn.
And then I think like there was a price inflate to $1.50, and people were livid because it's like in my life, never in my life am I drinking here again. I'm like, why would I not? Just
yeah.
No, it's great. And you're entertained the whole night trying to figure out what the puzzle underneath the cap is. But yeah.
I have 19% left on my tablet, so I am going to get to some of these questions.
Super chat questions.
Okay, we're going all the way back here to 7:20 p.m.
I don't know what this means. Why am I
40 minutes ago?
Signals?
Angry Clown 1990 question for the Roman. Can we get an RCR story about the 1908 New York to Paris automobile race?
Wait, who's the name of the person who asked
Angry Clown 1990.
Because I think there's someone before that.
Sean Brewer was the $1. Oh, there's a whole bunch.
Oh, wait, no. We answered the ones before. Sean Brewer was the cutoff, I think.
Yeah.
And then
have a Suzuki 200. We got that one. Why didn't you mention the snorkel in the Tacoma video?
Yeah,
and then it was Sean Brewer. And then
okay, so and what was the subject about the
could we get an RCR story about the 1908 New York to Paris automobile race?
There is an interesting there's a lot of work that goes into an RCR story in terms of like vetting, in the sense that I get a lot of submissions of people who have a good idea, and some of the times I actually use them because they inform me about stories that I maybe didn't know about, or aspects of a story, like, hey, if you do this, don't forget to talk about this,
right?
Like that type of thing, stuff that I might have overlooked had I not gotten that message. As far as like that type of story, like I'll definitely look into it now, because I'm always open. Like the door is literally never closed on suggestions for RCR stories. I'm just, for the most part, trying to get a lot of the really obvious ones out of the way, or not out of the way, because it makes it sound like I don't enjoy doing them. I do really enjoy doing them. The only drawback is that they take a long time to write, because I'm looking for a way to tell the story that makes it a little bit different. Like my preference is to filter it through a person, like find a central figure in the story and just like make them, okay, I'm trying to do that like narrative approach, but sometimes you can't do that. So sometimes you got to filter it through a car, or sometimes you have to filter it through a lineage of people. Like for the Isle of Man TT, I couldn't, it would have been like 4 hours long if I just told the whole story of the race. So I had to go through here. Let me tell the story through like legends of each era of the race. Like this is the racer who defined this era. These are the ones who define this one and this one, until we're in the present day. And that still ended up being like close to 2 hours or some crazy number. Yeah. And it's for the next one, which I plan to have out by the end of June. It took me a while to find a person to sort of get it started. And the funny thing is that like the person, I'm like, yes, I finally found a person to filter the story through. So I start writing it, and immediately the minute I get to like the next page of the story, he's dead. So like the person that I was going to use to carry it through for about like at least the first 2 chapters is dead like midway into the first chapter. So now but at least I got that foot in the door so that this person can kind of hand off the baton to the next person, and then to the next concept, so that then it kind of extrapolates from there to where it's not so much more about cars or about a person. It becomes about the cars and about the concepts. And then all of it sort of, it's not necessarily necessary from a narrative standpoint. It's necessary from an organizational standpoint, because I need that foot in the door for like a person to get the story started. And then from there, it could be about the concept. It's just, I need a window in there somewhere. So yeah. But yeah, I will definitely like look into that. That's an interesting, I assume, or else you wouldn't be suggesting it. So thank you for the question and for the donation.
Okay. Trying to find my place here. Sean O'Neill. Sean O'Neill says, I've been a huge fan for years. Specifically, where do you guys find all the research and technical details of cars for reviews and stories? And the answer is Wikipedia, Edmunds, and other sources, as well as the owner giving us details, and also the manual.
Yeah.
Most of when it comes to a car review, because we rarely do new cars, it's all been done. Like Motor Week, all those old, I'm glad they put all the old Motor Week stuff online. That's given me plenty of information.
Yeah.
But again, for us, it's not really about the technical aspects of the car. It's about what it's like to live with and where it sits in a cultural context.
Yeah.
So I know it's weird to say Wikipedia, but it's not exact. I don't have to cite my sources on these things.
Yeah. Which again, some people have issues with
Wikipedia is not a source. It doesn't count in your bibliography.
Well, I mean, like if something sounds suspect, like obviously, like
when we had writing,
a thing, and so I looked it up and was like triple checking like three different places to try to make sure that like all the numbers and years aligned for like this thing or that thing. And so it's just or the fact that for the Sebring review, it was my brother's girlfriend's car, and neither of them know anything about cars, so they didn't really have like engine information to give me. So that was kind of just us finding everything out on our own, like looking at the engine, figuring out like, okay, this is what it is, this is what it's a game of exclusion, I guess. And yeah, it's a process. We were talking about this in Nashville, where it's kind of like less automotive journalists, more automotive satirists.
Yeah.
In the sense that, yes, information is important, but we're not really out here trying to educate people. Not in the
unless we're talking about American modernism.
Yeah, we're not trying to educate people in the sense of like, if you don't know about cars, you're going to learn about cars here.
Right.
It's entering with, which is not to say that this isn't friendly to people who don't know about cars. Like we want to be accessible, or we like being accessible to people.
Yeah.
But within a certain frame of reference, you can only be so accessible if you don't have a certain framework of knowledge already.
Yeah.
And which is not to say that like either of us are necessarily super experts of anything, because we like admitted on the Art Fight podcast, like we're not necessarily like geniuses or anything when it comes to,
when I was doing color correcting earlier today on a future RCR review, I was listening to a taped lecture, a videoed lecture of someone talking about Renoir.
Yeah.
And of course Grand Illusion came up, and they were talking about the feet washing scene that I totally forgot about. There's a scene where Bourdieu is having his feet washed, and the important thing about it is that they were having a conversation about something else while this very biblically significant scene was happening between two people of separate classes, thus bringing the two classes together within a military prison camp and the dissolving of boundaries between people's worlds. So that's really is what interests me. But I was making a video about cars.
Yeah,
because maybe I should just talk about. I haven't made a RCR journal in a while.
Yeah,
and that's something that's been overdue. Just to go somewhere and just write. Now, largely, it would just be concerned about, hey, I'm lonely. Come hang out with me, but I don't want to talk about cars. Not one word.
Yeah,
and that's the weird thing now, that I can't live as Mr. Regular. I'm Brian. And Farah talked about this as well. Like outside of this YouTube thing, we don't really talk about cars at all.
Yeah,
which is weird because before we used to, and now it's like, well, this is work. Am I burned out? No. Thankfully, because we only do one video a week. We're not bowing to the algorithm and trying to kick out videos all the time.
Yeah,
that's how you burn yourself out.
And it's you have to remain in a place where you enjoy what you do,
right?
Because I really enjoy getting to do this and getting to write with you like every week, but I also enjoy the times where we don't talk about cars at all, like the first movies, the first hour of this podcast. I don't think we brought up cars once outside of like the Crashing Thing, and I really liked, you know, that was a blast for me. I don't know if it made great listening material, but it's also that thing of being able to separate, and it's true with like any job that anybody could possibly have, is you can't take work home with you.
Are they doing another Blade Runner?
I don't know. I'm guessing not. Okay. I haven't read anything about it. What I do know is that the director of 2049, Denis Villeneuve, I just always have to say it like that. But he's doing the new Dune, or the remake.
Okay.
And he's got like an
all-star. Not fuck this up.
He's got an all-star lineup on that thing of names that I can't remember right now, but just trust me, that thing is going to be insane. And
I want it to be really confusing. I want it to be pretentious as hell.
Yeah,
I know I'm quoting the critic again.
Well, yeah, but that's all of Villeneuve's filmography outside of not Passengers. What was the one with Hugh Jackman? And someone in the comments will get me on that. It's about like Jackman's kid goes missing. Prisoners, I want to say it's called. That was a really good movie, and it followed a very Prisoners. There you go. It followed a very traditional narrative structure, whereas like the rest of Villeneuve's movies, like Arrival, Blade Runner 2049, they're all more quiet. They're all more accused of being pretentious and up their own ass. And I'm like, well, no, because this is a master craftsman. He's crafting these stories in a way that are, now granted, both of these films are like adaptations, and now Dune is going to be an adaptation, depending on if you consider the sequel to Blade Runner to be an adaptation. It's just a spin-off of like something that came before. It's fine. But like Arrival was an adaptation of a short story, but like Villeneuve's technique took it to a point where, I mean, that short story I would think would be unfilmable if you described it to me. And because it's a lady who, like, aliens come down, they don't speak our language, so you have to get like a speech or a language like expert in to sort of decipher things. But then there's like this massive shift in the narrative, like 3/4 of the way through, that, or not even 3/4, it's like towards the end, that completely changes. Like the first thing, once Arrival was done, the first thing I wanted to do was rewatch it. Like it's that type of movie. It's not like a twist. It's just something that reorients how you look at the movie. And there are like just certain things that he does that I wouldn't have thought to do. So it's, I don't know.
I got to watch like The Big Short again, because we were talking about noir again.
Yeah.
About the possible RCR film. But it wouldn't, I mean, cars would play a part, but it really wouldn't have anything to do with it. This is way, way past Ivan Verleen's ideas for RCR, but I thought more about like the structure of writing. Nothing's written down yet, but it's the idea. First, you have to write a screenplay. Like, we're gonna make a movie. Who should star in it? That's not. Oh, I got a friend who's an actor. You don't even think that way. No. Write the whole thing out in a screenplay. If you can do that, then you can start talking about like filming locations. Again, please, everybody watch American Movie. That is so good. I've been ignoring you guys for a little bit. PM Meddling 2293. 1970 or 1980s Mercedes-Benz SL, the official car of any bad guy in those movies. It's like the Eddie Murphy movie, and the Eddie Murphy and Ghostbusters. Skull Vodka.
Oh, Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd.
It took me a second.
Is that Trading Places? Changing Places?
Yeah, I think so. The one with
the stock market? Yeah. Like bad guys, like those type of bad guys. I mean, there's Rolls Royces in that movie, but yeah, it's a bad rich guy trope car. That's what that car is. I got to remember that if we ever get one of those SLs. I mean, they are cool, classy cars. They're slow as fuck. But they're like that one gag from the second Ace Ventura movie where he says, "Let me guess, you're the Monopoly guy." You know, it's that. It's cars from the Monopoly guy. Wreck, thank you for your generous donation. John Wick 3. Oh, yeah, I had a Mustang about that. Yeah, like in the very first movie, the car it wrecked was like the sweet Mustang. So, yeah. Nick Pillay, no question, but thank you for 99 cents. Thank you very much. Thank you for supporting RCR. Iced Ink, good to see you again. I got a nice Chevy Tracker from my mechanic last week for $800. It runs, it drives, everything works. See, when I see runs and drives, I mean, the second when I hear runs and drives in a Craigslist ad, I think runs and drives until it overheats.
Yeah.
Like that one car we did in Nashville. It ran and drove until it overheated.
Yeah.
So you can run and drive it around until it gets hot.
I forgot to ask you, are we still doing that?
Yeah, we're still doing that.
Like with what we have though.
Well, what happened was he just turned the heater on full blast, and that gave us like another 8 minutes of driving. So that was enough to get some more film in, and I think we got some drone shots too. So we're definitely doing it. It's got 380,000 miles on it and hail damage.
Damn.
Oh, it sounds like a Berks County car.
Yeah. Oh, I was terrified that was going to happen again today.
Yeah.
I'm just like, as I'm sitting in my car and I texted you, like, I'm waiting for this to die down before I get going because I was at the Staples waiting for just the rain because there were sheets. You couldn't see a thing. Mm-hmm. I'm like, how angry would I be right now if it started hailing? And I'm immediately looking for like, what's a sort of awning that I can drive to.
When I was driving through Port Clinton earlier today, I saw cars parked under trees.
Yeah.
People were, can attest to the car's forgettableness. The mechanic actually forgot she was selling it. That's a good story.
That is.
Thank you, I think.
Thank you
Nick
so much.
Pillay, again, no question, but thank you for your donation.
Thank you.
Oh, Eric Pedersen is here somewhere. He says, sorry, I skipped your question, Eric. In the regular chat, he says, I wish I have to do the podcast sometime. I don't know if I'd have anything interesting to say. That's fine, because neither do we. I just drink until I'm funny. And congratulations, Eric, on getting married.
Hey, cheers.
Brian Silverman says, what is the state of Patreon? Is it still the best way to support the channel? Yes, it is. Love the videos and keep up the great work. Yeah, we have thanks to everybody who donates to Patreon. The goal is pretty much Patreon is our travel budget. When we go, that's why we don't travel all the time. We just wait for that to build up, and then we go on a grand trip. Next is Toronto, and then we have to decide between Germany or Australia.
Well, yeah, my vote is Australia, just because.
Fine.
Yeah, well, that's just me personally, because there were a lot of people who were disappointed last time when we went to New Zealand and didn't go there. Now, granted, I don't know if by saying this I'm upsetting a lot of German people, but who want to
joke there.
But yeah, it's oh, and then also you're doing HR 3 or Harris Hill.
I am doing San Marcos, but that's a solo mission, me to get over my fear of being on a racetrack.
Nice.
I will review one car when it's there. It probably is going to be an NB Miata because that's the only one we haven't done yet. All right. So it's settled. Next international trip will be Australia.
Autobahn,
that was easy.
Nürburgring. No, there are just people who are mentioning in the regular chat.
Right. Now everybody in Germany is like, come here. We will come to Germany. It was one or the other. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do Australia. We'll have to pick a day. We're not going to do Australia this winter. This winter will be Scottsdale, Arizona. The winter after that, I said I was going to go back to New Zealand in 2021. Wait, let me count. This winter will be 2020.
Yeah.
And then if we do the winter after that, that's 2021. So I would be skipping New Zealand for a third time. Well, see, if I go back to New Zealand on my own, the whole plan is that I will give Andrew Lamb money and he will buy a motorcycle for me. And so my trip, it would be around New Zealand with just a motorcycle. Now that's predicated on the Johnsons finishing their house bus on time. Now, right now, the Johnsons are in the Gold Coast in Australia partying, not working on the van, not working on the bus. So who knows? It depends on the state. Like if it comes to the point of us doing 2 separate trips, during that time, I would have to revamp the Patreon and say, look, the trips are coming hard and fast now.
Yeah.
Here are our goals. Can you help us do simultaneously Australia, New Zealand? Like, this is just me spitballing. We could do Australia, and I could send you home with all the gear, and I go from Australia to New Zealand.
Yeah.
And then I stay there for like another few weeks and then go home.
Yeah.
That would be the most cost-effective thing to do.
Yeah, it would. And
now, would I be homesick after doing Australia for a little bit, and then the nahs get into my head too much? Although Australia and New Zealand, not the same place.
I mean, my thing is,
who knows? I mean, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's just that, like, I've been really enjoying like these shorter trips, like these 4 or 5 day trips.
Yeah,
because this has nothing to do with, well, okay, it has a little to do with like all the stuff that happened back here while I was gone in New Zealand, where I kind of feel that it's not so much homesickness, but like that worry of, I don't want things to change too much without me, I guess. Or not even necessarily that. It's just like, when I was gone, my grandma died. And it's like, you don't necessarily, like, that's not on this.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just something like my mom told me to go. Like, this is your job. You have to do it. And she would understand. But it's that thing of not wanting to, I don't know. I love my family like a lot. And so it's really hard to be away for them.
Yeah.
And which is hilarious because like my big dream is going on Survivor. So I would technically be away from them for like, if I at best like 40 days. And that's just one of those strange things of one of the big reasons is like, if I can do Survivor, I can literally do anything in the world. Like, and as someone who's always had anxiety, which I mean, I don't even know if they would necessarily take me if I just because of that, but it's just something that I've always wanted to do. And I don't even think I'd win, but I would want to do it. So,
Okay. So I guess the question is, how long do we stay in Australia? How many cars do we do?
I mean, we can
at the very least we got to do 4.
Yeah, week and a half in Australia is fine. Like as long as I mean,
that'd be easy. 2 days worth of filming and the rest stuff.
Yeah, even if like you want to spread it out a little more across like 10 days that we would be there, where you're getting like all right, shoot 2-car day, break.
Yeah.
2-car day, break.
Yeah.
And then just do that for like across 10 days so that you, for one, like we're not losing our minds from logistics. And then if something goes wrong, it rolls over to another day.
Right.
Because we have those free days that if for whatever reason we need to use them,
right.
It's it's just, it's there.
We don't have an Australian fixer. Technically we do. Andrew Lamb wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Because he's from Melbourne, so he would know the lay of the land.
Yeah.
I don't want to inconvenience him and asking him to take time away from his company to just hang out with us.
If she still lived in Australia, I would be like, Angela, no, I'm just kidding. Like, would you mind showing us around? Even though, like, she's like the most busy person in the universe. Like, she's producing and directing and doing all this other stuff. Like, I don't even think she would have time to like high five me on the side of the road.
Right.
But it's a nice thing to think about when you're putting your head to your pillow. So it helps me sleep easier. The idea that, but things. I just think the only thing with the trips coming hot and heavy, all I think you need to do is just promote the Patreon more than we do.
Right.
So if we just put out like a Patreon video of like, hey, it's just
here's our trip, here's where we're going. If you want to help out, great. If not, we still love you.
Yeah. And one of the goals, and like I said, like if you want one of the goals to be like something where nicer podcasting equipment, like just something like,
I know we got this new mixer, which is pretty good.
That's great. But I mean, like just something along the lines of well, I don't know how I'm not a tech savvy person, but something
Our
that
mics are fine. The booms are fine. I hate this. Well, me sitting on this futon isn't that great, but I'm at limited space in this apartment. So, yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's things to figure out.
Wookie Automoto TV says, I am driving the NASCAR hauler to Pennsylvania tonight. Going to catch up finally on the last 2 podcasts while going down the road. Here's some beer money. Thank you, Wookie. Yeah. I think this is the new guy from before who's... Can't remember your original name. I think you changed it. Anyway. A guy corrected me, says John Wick does have smartphones. In the first and second, John tries to watch videos of his wife on a smartphone. Forgot that. Rachel Varga, no questions, but thank you for €1. Matthew Churchard says, what regular car would John Wick deliver his greased-haired justice from best? He looks like a Volvo 240 guy to me. Please, my girlfriend Hannah loves you guys probably more than she loves me, but it's okay. Emoji and laughing with tears emoji. A regular car, like everything John does is to the extreme. There is no regular in his life.
No.
I suppose. Let's see. He doesn't really. The funny thing is, I had this moment in the movie where it's just Crown Vic taxi cabs he gets into, and the one taxi cab he does get into is a fucking checker. Really? No, you gotta hit me over the blunt end that this is a neo-noir film.
Really?
Right. Really? Checker cab. All right. And how many people are employed in the murder industry in New York that he just keeps handing these special coins to people?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a pleasure, Mr. Wick.
Yes. Mr. Wick.
Oh, Mr.
Pleasure
Wick.
to see you again,
Mr. Wick.
John Wick 3. He gets greeted and walks through doors.
He just goes into McDonald's because he needs like a drink or something. So, Mr. Wick. He's just like, here, you promised me passage in this McDonald's bathroom.
Yeah. Thank you, Manager Churchard. A regular car that he just beats everything out of. Well, technically, the checker cab that shows up in what's more regular than a taxi cab that shows up in John Wick 3 would be a regular car. He doesn't steal. No, it's a movie. He doesn't steal any cars throughout any of the movies. He doesn't steal any vehicles apart from
the motorcycle.
Well, that was ridden by a bad guy.
Yeah.
Well, so everything he does is like justified.
Yeah. And the horse presumably belonged to somebody. Horse. Okay. But I mean, it's not like, I don't know.
Not a car.
That is true.
Let's see. I Stink says, also glad to see y'all survive Mother Nature's fortnight-long beeges.
Yeah.
What does that word mean? B-double-E-J.
Oh, like blowjobs.
Oh, okay. I'm sleeping in my tornado shelter here in Dallas-Fort Worth. It's been crazy here. Wow, your tornado shelter has Wi-Fi? Or at least you're getting a signal and you have unlimited data? Very nice. Thank you. Well, stay safe, I think. Stay safe. What does that mean?
Well, in the event that like we get a tornado warning, that we get to some place that's safe. Although
when you say stay safe to someone else, I always want to be that dick and say to my aunt, how?
Or as opposed to what? It's like,
yeah, I get what you mean. I am thinking about you. I care about you. That is a correct thing to say. I care about you. I care about you too.
Yeah.
I will preserve my livelihood for your sake so we can continue talking about people who died.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good line. Yeah. The thing about it is that if a tornado comes, like I don't have anywhere to go. Like I'm boned anyway. So
Valhalla.
Yeah, I don't have a basement. I don't have, I'm sure that if I went online and they mentioned like how to survive a tornado for people who don't have basements or shelters, like I would find something nice.
Buy on a ditch.
Yeah. Don't hide under your car, though. That's bad times.
Fred E doesn't have a question, but thank you for the $1. Oh, Tony Richardson is in the chat. This was an old one for you. Get me a push-up pop. I don't know what they were talking about. They were talking about ice cream. Oh, yeah, Tony, next time you're here, we're going to Heisler's.
Push-up pops are fantastic. I haven't had one in 20 years, and now I want one.
Tedman O'Hara says, ever have the Port Clinton Inn burger? I have never been to the Port Clinton Hotel. We drive past it all the time. Supposedly the burgers are good.
Yeah.
I don't know how late it's open. I'm kind of drunk right now. I kind of want one.
The thing that I kind of always wanted, but they're never open, is that little diner when you're leaving Port Clinton, and they're always like promoting like apple cinnamon French toast.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They're always,
they're like our diner. They close for lunch.
Yeah.
Like all they do is breakfast. It's like breakfast and lunch, and then they close at like 2 or 3.
Yeah, they close at like 2 p.m. And,
it's good. It's better than the Mannheim. But it's I suppose it's like former getting breakfast at the West Reading diner.
Yeah, like that type of thing. Trucker breakfast type thing.
Shit on a shingle.
Yeah.
Eggs over easy. Every
cream
Tom
chip
Waits
beef.
song.
Yeah. I can never get down with cream chip beef.
Oh, I love it.
That's, I mean, maybe it's a provincial thing based on where you were raised, like a more city based.
Oh, I love it on toast. So bad for you. Dodger of Zion, thank you for your donation. What you said about old men at the gym is true of women too. So many naked boomer women who talk and talk and talk and never get dressed. Oh, it's true. Really? Man. What was that one moment from Lilith Fair in the 90s where some girl pulled out her tampon and threw it into the audience? I forget what. I thought that was pretty cool.
Man.
But yeah, so women. I wish I had a better analogy for old tits than 2 plastic grocery bags filled with cooking oil. Yeah.
I mean, Family Guy had it pretty down pat with the like fried eggs on a like hanging from a doornail like type thing. Although, it's the same type of thing that you can apply to like old balls.
Yeah.
Of just usually it's shriveled grapes inside.
I had a conversation with like 2 different people at the gym who know me for doing regular car reviews, and they were men in their 50s. They had their shirts on, they had their socks on, no underwear, no pants.
Damn.
Just having that conversation, and I'm averting my eyes like I'm looking at God in a Monty Python movie. Bob, SEK20, forget what that currency is. Here, have some Swedish money. Why? Because Volvo. I have a fan who gave me a because Volvo key ring over here, and I have it, and I can't really give it away unless I give it away to someone who has a Volvo. I guess I could give it to.
Wait a minute, I have the same keychain too.
Did he give one to both of us?
It was a she.
Oh, it was. Was that from UK? No, I think this was the Southern Stab.
No, this is wait, no, I'm thinking of someone else. Never mind.
All right.
That one was Best Volvo.
Okay.
Huh.
Interesting. Anyway, thank you so much for Swedish money, Bob. Wyatt B, thank you for your generous donation.
Thank you.
My 2 friends and I have this funny idea of getting a 4-door Chrysler C-body and driving it around Detroit, no more than 2 per car. What? Just as an exercise in American excess and hilarity, the car can fit up to 8. Oh, Chrysler C-bodies. I don't even know what C-bodies are. They can fit 8 people. I guess like the new Pacifica things.
Let's see.
Chrysler C-body. Someone in let's see who figures it out first.
Yeah.
Nick or the chat? What a Chrysler C-body is.
Chrysler C-body. Well, I forgot to turn on internet. There we go.
Internet,
Mod
Boris T.S. Carl. Hey again. Thank you for good to see you again. Please grant us today our daily brown. People like. There are times I want to graffiti bathrooms that just write the word brown in very clear and bold serif font.
So the Chrysler C platform was the basis for rear-wheel drive full-size cars from 1965 to 78.
Okay, yeah, the Challengers. Yeah,
Nice.
Do. Henry says, "Oh fuck me, had to be a Colorado and driven poorly." Yeah, Henry. Yeah. I guess I would laugh louder if it was a Mazda Ranger, but yeah. Dem and Freedom Now doesn't have a question, but thank you for your dollar.
Oh, Whack Weber. My C is a 69 Newport convertible. Nice.
Ooh, sweet.
And not because of the 69 part. Just nice.
Dan Jan K, $2 Canadian. Thank you so much. Are you thinking about coming to Toronto, Canada? Yes, we will be in Toronto, Canada over your civic holiday. There will be an RCR meet.
Yes.
No details as of yet, but it's going to be June in a week, which leaves us 2 months to finish planning. I have to talk to Ivan more, which means I have to talk about what the deal with the fairgrounds is, because Ivan said he found an alternative to the fairgrounds if that doesn't work. So I have to get up with those guys who run that racing school to find out, look, did you find out if we have to pay this fairgrounds or not?
Yeah.
Brooks Young, would y'all review more animals? I had this plan of reviewing Justin Kramer's corgi dog and the review would just be called Small Dog. But that was 2 years ago and it never happened.
Yeah.
And we did a horse. We did a sheep.
Logical progression,
Yeah. I mean,
I would love to do a pig.
Pig, eh?
Yeah. I mean,
pigs eat their own shit.
I mean, what animal doesn't at some point?
All right.
Well, I mean, no, dogs do too, but only if they have a vitamin deficiency. Because I guess it's kind of a response to lack of nutrients. I read this in a book once when I got my dog when I was 10. I got this book on beagles that was kind of just, I don't know. I read it on the can. So,
nice.
Yeah.
I like dogs for about 10 minutes. I'm done with them.
I love dogs.
I'm more of a cat person.
I can't be a cat person. I'm allergic. Although, I mean,
I'm allergic too, but only after a while.
Yeah. As long as I don't touch any of my mucous membranes, I'm good.
There you go. Let's see. Where was I?
And then someone there asked how to get our car reviewed. Once again, regular car reviews at gmail.com. Make model, name, state, city. And yeah, if we get around to being in your area, maybe we'll hit you up.
Yeah, I say, as long as you're formatted correctly, I save the email.
Yeah, there's a whole video that should be in the description here, I guess, maybe, about how to format a video, or if not, just type in YouTube.
I should tweet that one again.
Yeah, of how to submit a car to regular car reviews.
Mm-hmm.
It'll guide you through the whole process.
Ziggy 3883, longtime listener, first time stander-upper. Thank you for all the content that gets me through the night shift. Oh, Night Shift. Love that song by the Commodores. Amazing. Loving the RCR stories.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your donation. You're what keeps this channel going. Rec. Again, good to see you, Rec. Thank you for your generous donation. Good way to socialize now is geeky hobby stores. See, I don't really have any hobbies. Like, if I had money hobby, I'd just keep buying, like, small displacement motorcycles and fixing them. Also, been interested in the first generation Oldsmobile Aurora. I still regret buying those Aurora branded golf balls. Maybe they're still there at that antique store. Always thought it was an interesting, if not underpowered, alternative to this tourist show. Yeah, Oldsmobile. Yeah, I mean, it's a General Motors. I don't even know what Aurora is based off. We still have to do one. And my whole thing with the Aurora is it was like brand marketing in the original X-Files movie in the 90s. It's a space-age car is one of the last Oldsmobiles made. I love the Oldsmobile Aurora.
I love the movie soundtrack for that, the original X-Files movie.
I was so upset in that movie that Scully was unconscious when the spaceship flew overhead, and Mulder just says, "You got to see this." Angry Clown 1990 again. Thank you for your donation. Another question for Roman. Sorry, Mr. R. Skip to the bottom.
I'm also screenshotting some regular chat questions that I did find interesting, I guess. Just in the interest of having more people be heard, without, sorry. Do you enjoy pro wrestling? I enjoy a local brand that puts on great shows. Are there any near you? There's literally an ad for like a pro wrestling show every other week, somewhere, whether it's on a telephone pole or in the window of the sports shop at the Berkshire Mall. It's like, I'm always going to love pro wrestling. It's one of those things that I just can't. I'm getting to the point where I can't watch WWE anymore. The product is unconscionably bad. I can't remember a time in the history of my viewership that it's ever been this bad and completely unwatchable, to the point where I don't even check out the highlights on YouTube anymore. Like, it is an unsalvageable product, which is weird to me because the talent is better than it's ever been. I don't think they've ever had a roster full of people this good. But as long as Vince McMahon is in charge, and as long as it's all being filtered through the mind of like a 70-some-year-old guy who is very anal retentive and obsessive compulsive, and
as Brendan Schaub would say, juiced to the tits.
Absolutely. I don't know how he's still alive, but he's just, considering how little sleep he gets and the sort of lifestyle he lives and the age that he currently is. But it's that thing of where the wrestling that I watch is all other things. It's all like, it'll be like New Japan, it'll be AEW, it'll be like Double or Nothing was possibly it's a more satisfying pay-per-view than anything I've seen in years, and it was just a complete blast, and I'm so glad that I saw it. And then like the summer, New Japan has the G1 coming up. Like, the G1 is freaking awesome. It's like, the playoffs of professional wrestling. It's like a round robin tournament. It's great stuff. But yeah, it's just really hard to enjoy like the mainstream, like WWE stuff. At a local level, I just never get around to the shows because I don't know, like, I've never really craved the live experience. I've been a bunch of times, but it's just something that I never necessarily get around to. And I mean, I'm maybe one of these days, when I was a kid, I really wanted to be a pro wrestler, and as a teenager, I was like looking into wrestling schools. But it's because
there's a bit in your family.
Yeah. The Wild Samoans run a wrestling school in Allentown, and that was, produced some like legends. And my grandfather used to be a pro wrestler in Puerto Rico, El Lobo, the wolf. And so it's just one of those things of just remembering what it was like to be that into something as a kid.
I never was into it. I mean, in the 80s, it was everywhere.
Yeah, it's no escape.
So I knew the wrestlers' names then, and even then, I was telling you when we were riding the other day, when I was up hiking and I was searching for sticks in the woods, and I found a few sticks, and I'm coming out of the woods back to the shelter at Bake Oven Knob, and half of me just wanted to come out of the woods like this, emerging like the bushwhackers.
Yeah.
I just found that entire thing preposterous, because the walk to the ring is a while.
Yeah.
And to just keep doing this the whole way. I mean, if you want a meme, just keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest walk. It doesn't make sense. That's not how you clear bushes out of the way if you're off trail. It doesn't make any sense at all. But in my later life, I've learned to appreciate pro wrestling because all it is live action Dragon Ball Z.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, did you see the news thing about the Renault and Fiat Chrysler merger? Because they mentioned it in the regular
No.
chat, and somehow this completely went past my radar. And and the top like news article is FCA Renault mega merger is born of desperation. That's every FCA mega merger. Like, is that not what it's been for nigh on 20 years now, or 10? I don't know how many years. All I know is that it's something that is always going to be an issue, because being acquired by somebody is not the be all and end all of fixing all your problems.
Right.
If you have like if the foundation is boned, like you got to start from the bottom and work your way up.
Your Dodge division is fine. You have stretched that Mercedes class as far as it goes. People still want Challengers. And supposedly the Pacifica now is okay.
Yeah.
We have not done a lot of modern Chrysler products at all.
No, because it's
not an enthusiast car. There's like, well, yeah, Challengers, right? But like Mopar stuff has been, but like I want a Chrysler 200, but I don't know anybody who buys a Chrysler 200 that has a sense of humor.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. I mean, it's that console wars mentality of that, and we mentioned this in a review once, of like, as when you're a kid, you pick your system, knowing that you're not going to get another chance to pick again because your parents don't have unlimited money. Mm-hmm. So when you buy like a Fiat Chrysler like product, you're essentially like yoking your identity to that, to where it's like, why would you have a sense of humor about it? Yeah, it's like you have to hear it from enough people already about how the product or the company is in a perpetual state of like distress. But that doesn't mean that's how it has to be all the time. But then I don't think a merger with Renault is going to be the answer either.
Right. Until people want to, again, this is an Iacocca line. You got to build a small car that Americans want to buy. And they're not doing that. Mm-hmm. Now, if you want to fully concentrate on fleet vehicles, fine. Their trucks will always sell, and the Jeeps will always sell.
Yeah.
The Jeep is like the Kobe Bryant of their lineup. Chris Kalowski, 2 super chats from him. No questions, but thank you so much. Hans Everin doesn't have a question, but thank you so much as well. Tony Airlines is bumping in and out of the regular chat. Good to see you again, Tony. I forget what we were talking about earlier on Telegram. Oh, yeah. Tony Airlines bought a Honda Beat, or Tony Richardson, as he appears in the chat. He bought a Honda Beat. Right now, it's draining its battery because I think the taillights keep staying on. And I was talking to him. I haven't looked at this car, and his car is all the way in Lawrenceville, New Jersey, so whatever. But the brake pedal, the switches on brake pedals are reverse switches. Normally, when you have a switch for something, when you press it, that closes the circuit, and electricity flows, turning on whatever you're trying to turn on. Brake switches typically work in the opposite direction. When they're pressed in, the circuit is open, so the brake lights are off. Now, as the arm from your brake pedal goes in, it presses... Excuse me. The switch on the brake... Wait a minute. I looked at a picture. I forget which one it is. They go both... Actually, no. Most brake switches are in front of the brake arm, and the button is pressed in when the brake pedal is up. And then as you press the brake pedal down, the switch releases, but it's a reverse switch, so it closes. They work backwards, is what I'm saying. And I know this because I didn't know this until I had to install one on the Falcon, because the Falcon had a traditional brake switch that we had to switch it around and put a modern one in, and that was a pain in the dick to mount. So, and I think what people on Tony's Facebook group around JDM cars and Honda Beats is that that has a little rubber bumper or a washer on the brake pedal, and that might have just fallen off, which is as simple as just getting some amazing goop and that thing right back on there. There, now your brake lights will turn off.
I need to stop doing finger guns.
Alex, you're pretty good. Alex Callage says, fun, practical, reliable auto transmission car for 15 grand. Take your fucking pick, man. Grand or GTI, a Volkswagen GTI would be perfect, but I have Volkswagen and Audis and don't trust the reliability. I'm in Tampa, Florida. Okay. All right. Fun and practical. You're going to get all that sort of stuff. 15 grand. You can buy nearly anything. So a fun automatic. Well, for RCR, I said the most fun automatic I've ever driven is what's in Volkswagens right now. So everything else is mostly CVTs, including Subaru's out, Toyota's out. Gosh. Fun and reliable, practical. Gosh.
I mean,
see, fun automatics are the old big torque converters like the ones in my Falcon, like an AOD or a 4R7W or 4L60 or 4L80. But now you're talking about trucks and stuff you have to build. And when you build a car, it'll never be as reliable as just a factory thing you just crap out. Fun, reliable. An automatic TJ Jeep, maybe, but Tampa traffic, which means you're going to have a big air conditioning condenser in there. Dude, you're not going to get fun. For 15 grand, fun and reliable isn't happening, because fun means there has to have a sense of weirdness about it. You don't need all-wheel drive because that's Florida.
Yeah, no.
You can do burnouts, I guess, and be like the rest of the Florida douchebags.
Someone says Mazda 3.
Yeah, well, okay. The automatics in them may be automated manuals because it's FOMOCO, Ford Motor Company. An automatic one of a Mazda 3, I don't recommend an automatic Mazda 3. In any case. Fun. An old Toyota Tercel with an auto in it. You'll have fun driving that. Yeah. Air conditioning optional.
But if reliable is also in the Venn diagram, it's like
you're asking a lot. You're asking cheap, a lot, Alex.
Fast, reliable, but you can only pick two. It's that type of thing.
See, if you're commuting in that, the stability of that air conditioner is priority one.
The Mercury Marauder, Taurus Show, 1.9 TD.
Taurus Show, that's something.
Yeah, Charger RT.
Can you get one for 15 grand? I don't know.
That's the thing.
I'm telling you, a Camry, man. Suck it up. Get a Camry for $9,000 and buy a Miata with the rest. That's my answer. Thank you, Alex. Yeah. Brian Silverman. Hey, Brian. Can I donate to the Harold Slavinsky Memorial Fund? Yeah, you can, but it's going to get looped into my travel budget because Harold Slavinsky will never come back.
Yeah.
It's just too small.
He's too niche of a character,
right,
for people to really understand. And it's not the same as like Stan the Man, who will also never return because he's best used just that one time.
Right.
And that's a thing of when there's a character, you have to be careful with it because they can easily become the whole thing.
Right.
And the last thing you want is like if a character gets over, that's suddenly the only thing people want to see, or if they think I don't know.
Yeah,
it's nice to pepper them in there somewhere.
Right. Cameron Autobrennan. Thank you for your donation.
Oh, hello. Cameron Aubernon?
Yes,
I'm Facebook friends.
Oh, wonderful. Hello, will either of you be visiting the National Corvette Museum on its 25th anniversary in late August? We have no plans. I'll be down there for a story about the anniversary for the Corvette Forum. Would be cool to meet you guys. Late August. We don't have our August. The National Corvette Museum, I think, is in the middle of nowhere. Is it Bowling Green?
Huh.
It's in Kentucky or somewhere. I remember passing by it in the Yugo when Justin Lose and I were doing the Lemons rally. I don't want to drive all that way.
No,
I want to fly all that way, but Corvettes are good. They've been around. Oh, it's the 25th anniversary of the museum. Threw me for a second there. I don't know. Anything's possible.
I suppose.
Send us an email. That's the best way to remind me. Miles E. Thank you for $2. Any book recommendations for someone who likes Charles Bukowski and Hunter S. Thompson? Oh, there's another guy. Boys on the Bus. The book is called Boys on the Bus. And it's about the National Press Corps for the president, and I forget the name of the author, but it's called Boys on the Bus.
Jamie, pull that shit up.
Yep.
Boys on.
Thank you for your donation. We'll get back to that, Miles. Nick's looking into it. Eric Muller, thank you for your donation. Longtime fan. I have a 2012 Kawasaki Contours motorcycle. I live in Vermont. Would you be interested in reviewing it sometime? Send me an email, year, make, model, city, state, and in the body of the email, put your phone number and a picture of the motorcycle. I have not been to Vermont. I've been there once because I went to Killington once. It's a motorcycle I'm interested in doing. Don't know if I drive all the way to Vermont, but anything's possible. Once again, regularcars@gmail.com. Year, make, model, city, state, and in the title of the email and in the body, put the phone number, put your phone number and a picture of the car and anything else you want to write.
And Boys on the Bus is by Timothy Krause.
Yes, Timothy Krause.
Seminal nonfiction book detailing life on the road for reporters covering the 1972 United States presidential campaign. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Will, thank you for your donation. Just finished my last book of high school, A Room of One's Own by Virginia. Whoa. Would you like some water to wash down those dry crackers? Will says it's kind of dull. What were your favorite and least favorite books of the 12th grade? My least favorite book is Of Human Bondage by Somerset Maugham. My favorite book, because I was in high school, and it's like a high school reading book, is Catcher in the Rye, because there's the word fuck in it. And you're pissed off in high school, and this is a book about a guy getting pissed off. So it's an okay book to read. I mean, South Park said it best, is that the entire book is a teenager whining about how he sucks.
Yeah, pretty much.
But what do you do in high school?
Whine about how everything sucks. Like it's a universally
right. People will keep reading that book over and over again.
Exactly. What's funny is that I struggle to think of a book I actually hated, but there are experiences that I didn't enjoy in high school. Like, for instance, like reading Dickens has never been fun for me.
I cheated. I cheated on that. Every single thing, Tale of Two Cities, I cheated on.
Oh, I binged.
It's not a book for kids. I don't know why it's in there.
Like, I read A Tale of Two Cities cover to cover in 1 week because I was going into an honors English class and didn't realize that we'd been assigned summer homework.
Yeah.
So I found out like a week before that we had to like do a report on A Tale of Two Cities or some mess. I'm just like, oh, nuts. Now I got to read this book. And it's just said with slightly less contempt. But, okay. A Separate Piece.
What's that about? Who's that? What is that? Who is that?
It's basically I don't remember the author. It is two boys in two boys in a boarding school. They form a friendship. It's like Brokeback Mountain in a boarding school. Except I don't think it I don't recall it getting overtly sexual. Like, he sort of, like one of the boys dies from like yeah, spoilers for like a book. But he gets like a bone marrow thing, like he gets some sort of injury. And I don't even remember. It's like something gets into his bloodstream and he dies. And so it's this weird like coming of age story where, you know, again, it's like whoever your best friend was as a kid dies. Someone mentions the Pearl. That's a good pull in the sense that I don't really care for. Oh, I didn't really care for Middle English in high school because I did take a Middle English class, which is funny because I took one in grad school as well. And I enjoyed Middle English a lot more in grad school than I did in high school because, which is funny because in high school you're supposed to enjoy the Canterbury Tales a lot more because I guess the books that they give you, they're a bit more neutered and watered down and more relatable. And then y- y- and the stories are a bit more ribald and sexual and racy. I mean, I remember having to read Death Watch, which was a really weird pick. And again, I don't remember the author. I just remember it's a story about like a guy who's being hunted in a desert by some other guy, and he has to find ways to survive. And it's possibly the most bizarre book that you could assign to high schoolers. And I don't know why it was assigned. So yeah, there's that. Um, Oh, the Westing game, but that was more of a fifth grade book assignment. That was kind of a murder mystery of along the veins of like a game of Clue. And yeah, it's just, you know, what I remember more about high school are like the short stories, you know, like A Good Man Is Hard to Find, or an occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, you know, like that when you're not used to encountering twist endings in a literary sense. You know, you're used to seeing them in your movies, I suppose. Roman, what was your most hated lit class in college? Oh, cool. Yeah, if you didn't catch that, Brian just said he thought of an RCR line and he's writing it down for you know, posterity before he forgets. Hey, we're at 69 likes. Nice. But anyway, the oh, okay, Roman, what was your most hated lit class in college? Oh, that's a good one. I didn't really care for anything modern, like where we're reading contemporary books, and I'm talking contemporary as in like the past 20-25 years. Um, uh, I forget the name of the professor, but it was the class that like I had to read Fight Club in, which Fight Club is
Eh.
fine. No Country for Old Men is fine, but it's that thing of it doesn't really stimulate me, I guess. And I also ran into the issue of having seen the movies first, and I'm a very like visual type of person for someone who loves books, you know. But
Right.
it's also that thing of like you can't have your experience not be colored by the visual medium.
Right.
It's like when you watch Game of Thrones, but you read the books first, or if you read Game of Thrones, like A Song of Ice and Fire, after watching the show. So many things are different, but also, you know, what you've seen colors in your perceptions of the books.
I remember in middle school, I read the novelization of Star Wars: A New Hope.
I remember
I remember liking it, but because I saw the movie, like when I was like in elementary school or something like that, and didn't really remember most of it. And then, you know, then the special editions came out.
yeah.
In no, first was the remastered, which is the biggest canon one anyway.
Yeah. It's funny in that like the novelizations had a lot of things that were different from the films themselves, in that like in the novelization of Return of the Jedi, they get more specific about how Vader ended up in the suit,
Mhm.
how he could feel like the lava crawling up his back. And then they kind of allude to like Luke's uncle Owen actually being Obi-Wan Kenobi's brother.
Huh.
And until, you know, the prequels came out, there was really nothing to refute that in the
Yeah.
canon. So it's, you know, eh,
Mhm.
it's one of those things where like reading the novelization of a film actually gives you more information
Yeah.
in a different sort of way. I mean, the novelization of anything is going to try to give you more
Mhm.
information, but yeah.
Let's see, where were we here? Harold Slavinsky, Corvette Museum, Bukowski, Room of One's Own. That's probably where it was.
Yeah.
Steve G. Thank you for $10. Hey, I just replaced my 2001 high mileage 5-speed Outback with a 2014 Forester 6-speed. May I submit it to you if you want to review your manual first gen Forester? 2014, the final manual generation Forester. Enjoy the $10 for travel. Steve G. Regular car reviews at gmail.com. Your make, model, city, state in the title of the email, and in the body of the email, you put your phone number, anything else you want to write, and a photo of the car. And I'll save the email as long as it's formatted correctly. Thank you so much for liking regular car reviews, and thank you for donating.
Thank you.
Thank you for buying one of the last manual Foresters.
Cheers.
I drove one of them. I drove it, and here's was my impressions. I drove it down at Steve Moore Subaru in Leesport, and I found it. Yeah, it's a manual. So what? It was very. It's a large car now, man, and yeah, you can rev it. Why? It didn't have that funky and fun stuff that the new Imprezas do. It's just so much car, and without a turbo shoving it. I mean, respect for having a 3-pedal car. David Irwin, thank you for your donation. I just wanted to thank you for turning me on to vaporware, synthwave, and showwave. I feel like a dad who just discovered a genre of music from 10 years ago. Hey kids, I'm with it. I'm cool, and does the Macarena, Wyatt B, thank you for $5. My one friend has a 1972 New Yorker brown vinyl top. Our other friend and I won our own and have a convoy of 3 barges around the town. That'd be fun.
That would be.
Yeah, I like those. Maybe the Malaise era cars will have their time in a sort of, I can't afford any other classic car, so we're buying stuff oil embargo, slow ass boats. Good choice, man. My Forklets land. Maya Frocklets land?
Merfolkets land. Merfolkets land.
Ever driven a Soviet-made car? I guess if you want to split hairs, or if you want to muddy hairs and smush them together, the Yugo is a Eastern Bloc car made in the 80s. I've never driven a Moscovich or a Lada, but I want to. Heard they're terrible. Thank you for your donation.
Yeah, 20 Norwegian krones. Or krone.
Chris Stochak. Chris Stochaj.
Stochaj.
Stochaj. Mulder is still driving oh shit, son. Mulder is still driving an Oldsmobile Aurora in the new X-Files.
Well, I mean, they revived the series, I think 2 years ago, but they only did 1 season. I don't think there are plans for another. Not entirely sure though, but I didn't watch it. So if he was still driving one,
that'd be awesome.
That would be.
Regular Driver says, why is it called Bake Oven Knob? Knob is a local regionalism for Rocky Outlook. A knob is like, it doesn't make sense. It's a Rocky Outlook. It's an overlook. So it's an outcropping. There you go. They call it a knob. Dick. Angry Clown 1990. Decided to join your Patreon. Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Top tier was sold out and had to do a custom pledge. No problem. Yeah, our top tiers have been sold out for like 2 years. Yeah. And because me reading entire passages and making voicemails for people is very time consuming. The only way to get a top tier RCR Patreon is for someone else to back out of theirs in a very supreme way.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of like $1, $2 or custom pledges. So thank you so much for doing that, man. You're helping us get to Australia and later to Germany. Brian Silverman, do you guys like Tim and Eric? Yes. Other absurdists. Yeah. Well, either Tim Heidecker or Eric Wareheim. I think it's Tim Heidecker is from Whitehall. So
Is
he's from the
he?
Lehigh Valley.
Wow, I didn't know
So
that.
one of the two of them are there. I think they both went to Temple University and met there.
That's cool.
So yeah, they're Pennsylvania. And like Jefferton in Tom Goes to Mayor is clearly Lehigh Valley. Like these towns around it that are just beat to hell. It's like the things like garbage and waiting rooms. It sells the whole thing.
I like Jack Stauber. He's a YouTube and a musician. He creates these really weird songs that are more or less jingles, and they maybe last like a minute. Some are fewer than a minute, and they range in topic from like a girl named Hamantha who has a ham for a head and she died, and then the doctor took a bite of her head, and it's just I don't know, but like the songs are so catchy, and the music videos are all in like this. They'll have like clay animation, and they'll be done in like a VHS style that makes it seem like a public broadcasting whatever program where it's like there's a little bit of the tracking thing, and it's just I don't know, it's great, it's fantastic. Jack Stauber, Stauber, he's just great.
Thomas Paul Palzan. Mr. Regular can't read names. Thomas Paul Palzan. I'm drunk.
I'm trying to find
Thomas Palzatto. Why did I put a D in there? There's no D in there. Thomas Palzatto.
Oh, Palazzolo.
There we go.
There we go.
Thank you for being the sober one.
Well, I only can pronounce it because it's kind of like Kefka Palazzo, Final Fantasy VI villain.
Oh.
Which again,
didn't play 6.
He says it's okay. No one gets the name right. Yeah, well, yeah.
I just bought my first project vehicle in 1981 BMW R35 Airhead. I have no idea what that is. Oh, it's a motorcycle. It's my first bike, and I got it running, and now I'm in love. Do you have any experience with older BMW bikes? No. What are your opinions? Not for me. The only BMW bike I rode was the 1200. Long way round bike that you saw in RCR. I want to drive more. BMWs are. We have a local BMW motorcycle shop in Port Clinton.
That is true.
So it's Hermes BMW, and the thing I get, like BMW bikes are very much in Pennsylvania bikes. Overland. I don't ride a Harley. I have a BMW. But the funny thing about most BMW bikes that I see around here, they are filthy. And I guess it's a point of pride that people who have the BMW dual sport bikes do get them dirty, as opposed to the shiny and chrome Harley bikes and S&S powered vehicles. So my opinions, I have respect for them. I think they're very well balanced. I haven't really ridden a motorcycle that I've hated. All right. We've reached the end of the super chats. It's funny, like the former banner on the YouTube page for RCR was a set of headers, and they were a set of headers for my least favorite motorcycle that I own, which is a Yamaha XJ700N, which was a inline 4-cylinder air-cooled carbureted bike. It was a cruiser with a sort of sports bike S engine, but I found it bland. It was definitely fast. It was 80 horsepower. It was great for a bike, especially for one from the 80s. Shaft drive. But there was nothing to fuss over. It just ran. It even had self-canceling turn signals. Big deal in the 80s.
Very nice.
My modern 2008 Suzuki 650F doesn't have self-canceling turn signals. Most bikes don't. They don't cancel the turn signals by themselves. You got to push. You got to push it back. Some of them don't even have the push the button in. You got to move the turn signal. The turn signal button on motorcycles is this little thumb switch. You go left turn signal, right turn signal. And some of them, most of them, when you press it, it returns to the center, and then you press it in, and then it cancels it. Yeah. Sorry, I touched the mic.
Yeah, it happens.
And but the older ones, you have to physically carefully move it back to the center after you're done your turn. It's like an extra task you have to do.
It's strange.
I had like 1 or 2 bikes that were like that.
Huh. I do have some regular chat questions.
Okay.
Just a few. The Bootleg Garage asks, do you have some choice words for people who buy cars and after a week decide they don't want it anyway and try scamming that the car is bad?
What do you mean scamming the car is bad?
Scamming that the car is bad. Like they try to pretend that something was wrong with the car. I don't want it anymore. And
try to get their money back from like a private seller?
I imagine that's what this person means.
Well, all sales are final. You can't take it back.
Yeah, I don't
like when you sign that title over, that is a piece of property that you now own.
Yeah.
Like if you want to claim a lemon law, now you're talking litigation.
Yeah.
Like, look, if it's a problem with the car, file a lemon law claim. And usually they're too lazy and won't do it.
Well, yeah, it's a hill that they're not willing to die on.
Yeah.
You know, it's just something that I don't have choice words because I can hardly imagine the scenario. It seems so anathema to me. Like, why would anyone do that? Well, of course, you never know.
And they treat cars like appliances. I don't want to do business with them in a Joey Diaz way.
Mr. Scott J87, talking about the terrifying nature of tornadoes, mentions that one of my coworkers got out of his, I assume he means like the shelter, and went in the ditch and got hit by a dumpster. Took almost a year for him to recover. Now most recommend to try to outrun it and not get out of the car. Oh, so he got out of his car because I mentioned earlier, like, well, don't, stay in your car and everything. And he mentions how one of his coworkers got out of his and went in the ditch and got hit by a dumpster. Took almost a year to recover.
I'm sorry for laughing, but dumpster.
Yeah. So now
you think you're in a metal cage. You're in a modern car that's made to withstand impacts.
Yeah.
It's got safety glass all around you. You got a chance in that thing, and it moves.
Yeah. And, they say now most try to outrun it.
Those things, tornadoes move at, from what I understand, like 30 miles an hour. Your car can go 100. So, and you see those storm chasers all the time in like Silverados. And they're like driving away from the tornado as it's coming toward them. So yeah, your car has an engine. It moves. It gets out of there.
Pika Welchmertz says, is there an age limit to the kind of cars you will review?
No.
Yeah, we did that. The old Model T.
Yeah. Shout out to Justin Lewis. Yeah. 1925. Like it would be kind of we are going to go back to the Lane Auto Museum at some point. That was a nice little
motor museum.
Motor Museum. Sorry, Rex.
Yeah.
Lane Motor Museum. Hey, Rex, can we take out that recreation of the 1893 Ford thing with the tiller in it? Does that thing move? Can we legitimately take that thing out and go pat, 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 pat around there? That'd be neat.
I do say now.
Like if we do that again, I need to get a leopard. I need to get a leopard print like strongman outfit.
Yeah. I'll bring the triangular weights.
I wish Family Guy didn't do that, but it's such a fun joke, like he's strongman guy.
All you really need is like the handlebar mustache and a pose like this.
Yeah.
Eat salted beef. And then I think we're
liver and onions.
What are your guys' thoughts on a 9th gen Corolla? Fun car and handles decent. That's from Kozuto 98.
Can you reread that? I was thinking about liver and onions.
Yeah. What are your guys' thoughts on a 9th gen Corolla? Fun car and handles decent.
I think the real joy for those Corollas are when you get the base model with the manual. It's the same logic that goes into the Impreza. It was a Corolla, right? Not Camaro?
Yeah,
Corolla. Yeah. Although the same logic applies to Camaros. I think the best Camaro you can get is the base model V6 with the manual. Not that the LT1, LZ1 thing isn't great, but we're talking bargain basement fun here.
Yeah. Tony mentions while we're talking about things in the Lane Motor Museum, I want to get my hands on that seaplane on the ceiling.
Yeah, like we have on the Rolodex of people who help us a captain,
yes,
and also an instructor, and also a seaplane enthusiast. So, but that would be a whole fiasco to get one of those planes down. Who knows when those planes went up to that ceiling and then just stayed there?
Yeah, are they structurally sound still?
Exactly.
Because they mention that every car in there is roadworthy in the sense that, like, Rex just needs to go get a plate for it if we wanted to take it out. And so it's daunting to have that kind of depth of options.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Lewis says 96 Camaro wagon family car. Hope you got my email. Roman, first 4 chords of A Bridge Too Far for my work jam. Read this.
For my at work jam. Love the show. We'll watch for years. Thank you so much for your support and for the $5. Lewis, I think I got to think about it. You girl, as long as I don't die. Or a silly costume, as long as it looks fun. And I know that it's like just because I don't know that many chords, so it's probably like A minor. Wait, no, it'll be like C, A minor, G. I don't know. This is one of those things that I would really have to have like the guitar on me to really think through.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Sorry, I wish I could help. I'm sure if you could use like one of those apps like Songify or something along those lines, that it'll just get the chords together.
Okay.
Because I literally have no idea. Which is funny because I wrote the damn song, but it's also just something that happens. This one is After Dark 3 says, for someone who's looking for his first bike, would a 1970 to 1985-ish Honda CB400 or 750 be advisable? I love
Honda CB400 over a CB750. CB750 largely because, I mean, they're both going to be great. They're both going to be reliable, but the CB750, you're now going to have to balance 4 carbs instead of 2.
Yeah.
The Honda CB400 or CM400, I'd go for the CM. They were more modern. That's not what the M stands for. I don't know what the M stands for. Are fine bikes. They have a top speed of probably like maybe 90. Believe me, they will be great. And they sound great. If you put Harley Davidson Sportster exhaust on them, they sound nice and rumbly. And I can know that because Ben Wright had one.
Yes.
We haven't even seen I haven't seen him since Radwood.
I'm friends with him on Facebook.
Oh,
I recently became friends with him on Facebook because for some reason I thought I was and realized like I never actually went around and friended him. So I don't know. Thanks.
The Jacob Shapiro says, boys, I'm buying a Grumman Wingon. Widgeon.
As soon as I have money after graduation
and I land a decent job, I wanted to fly. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So a guy's buying the Jacob Shapiro is a pilot.
Huh.
Wonder if Tony is still on the chat. A flying boat. Flying. Well, you know our email. Let me know. Thank you for your donation. Angry Clown 1990. What's a car y'all would like? What's a car event you all would like to attend but probably won't get to? I really wanted to go to the Race of Gentlemen by the Oilers Car Club. I would like to do the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride, which is a motorcycle event where we all dress in suits and ride motorcycles. But it looks kind of weird with my sport bike. I don't know if they still do it. But I want to go to Scottsdale this coming winter, because I want to go to the Barrett Jackson car auction and my, I've never seen 0%, and it's done.
Oh, well, now
all right. All right, my tablet's out of battery. Like literally went to 0. It's like power off.
So if there's a sign, now's the
yeah. Okay, no more super chats, please. We are done. We are wrapping this podcast up, and we've gone for 2 hours. This was a while.
And I only have one regular chat question left.
Okay.
Oh, and Jacob Shapiro says, I'm an aero engineer, but my school has a flight school, and I'm going to be getting my license sometime in the next 3 years.
Tell us where that school is. I mean, there is this plan with Tony and I that we will fly to somewhere within the country where we can review airplanes now that we have a pilot with us, and there's less time I have to spend in that plane, and throw up ability goes down.
Yeah. Oh, all right. So last question is from Aunt Randy. Aunt Randy. That's great. I need your help to re-educate my cousin. He's lived in Johnstown for too long, and now he thinks Sheetz is better than Wawa. I mean, if you're looking,
here we go again.
That's how.
Oh shit.
Yeah, here we go again. Yeah, it's Sheetz for drunk food. That's exactly what it is. Drunk food and smoothies. And,
right. I'm a little bit tipsy and I want Sheetz.
Yeah.
Motherfucking cheese bites.
You
fucking
can't go
burrito.
wrong.
It's got goddamn tater tots in it.
Yeah. They used to have a burger that, it's a fistful of Doritos on top. Like what are you supposed to do with that? Like you're not going there to watch your waistline at all. Whereas Wawa, you very much can eat cleanly within the bounds of if you make a hoagie bowl, it's literally just all the things that would go on a hoagie turkey, without the bread.
Without the bread. Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine. You could have, and if you don't
You're
even
buying a chef's salad.
Pretty much, right, that's essentially it. But it's like a fresh made chef salad that hasn't been sitting in the deli section for
getting all slimy.
And now they do those like Mediterranean bowls with like the rice that's really good.
Really?
Yeah, no, those are delicious. And but Wawa, that's just my shorthand for everything. Of like, I'm a Wawa guy because their coffee's better and because
their coffee's better.
Their food is better.
Yeah.
In my younger days, I liked Sheetz better because I thought the food was better. But my thing now is that I don't know if it's a taste bud thing or a palate thing, but I just can't get there.
I will go to Sheetz for gas. It's easier to fill up in Sheetz.
Yeah.
And then the wild card is Rutter's, which is anyway, we've been over this. But
Sheetz feels like going to someone else's house. Wawa feels like home.
Nice. So that's a line.
Yeah. So all right, there you go. That's a podcast. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us this week and who continues to join us every week for our reviews and for everything else. We could not do this without any of you or without you in general. So thank you so much for being here. I'm Nick.
I'm Brian.
Until next time, have a good one, guys.
Have a good night. Ending the stream.
Oh dear.